Let's see. Well, you can't see anything, can you? So I wanted to start another video. This is actually becoming interesting for me. Again, this is a huge sign of hope. This is not. This is a sign of recovery from depression that I'm interested in documenting and designing. So anyway, I took, I think it was 20 milligrams, 2 caps, and then I am smoking a hybrid Girl Scout cookie and a little bit of Granddaddy Perps. I haven't taken my valerian yet. I am not experiencing shaking, just light sensitivity, and let's see if I can put some. This will probably be fine. I just went outside, so yeah, this is all right. It was just, if I were, now I get camera shy. I don't like to look at myself. So I've got my glasses on underneath there. And I've got my monitor at the lowest light setting. This is going to be too much. Put this in the way. Yeah, I can do diffused. I just can't have that source, that hot source of light. Like the sun. And then what would normally happen, which would be so much worse, would be the physical discomfort. So I would not just cry, but I would be crying and shaking, and thoughts all become so much more manageable with the weed and the bar exercise. So combining the yoga stuff with the bar is really helpful. And I do a lot of smaller muscle things. I started to experiment with that. So like if I'm in a day where it's going to be well, in my mind anyway, a complete wash. Like I would think I've got to hear my show, so now I hear this woman's voice that distracts me. They do that. Did I tell it's finished? The message. So I would start shaking, and I would have to work all that stuff out. And early, I would start doing that bar stuff, and I would start sobbing in class. So sort of like working every fine. You're such a freak. And I actually had, I before my illness, I was not able to sit like crisscross applesauce or whatever. And now I can, and I do ab work and um, hip openers, and it's time consuming. Like if I were trying to work an office job or something. Alexis Valdez, I love that album. You know, this would seem very indulgent for those of us who have, you know, had an office experience. I've had very few. It doesn't obviously fit the way I am very well, and not because I'm being uppity, but because of now we have a better understanding of how we are as human beings as a consequence of this experience. Blah, blah, blah. So I'm really excited about this mind-body art-making work that I'm doing, because then I'm like tying it back to the I was about to say social media design. That's bigger than that. I think human experience design is the right thing. I just, you know, as far as I know, that is a new sort of term. I invented an industry, or a discipline maybe. That's pretty awesome, huh? Like, I could be like Dewey Decimal. Isn't that a dude? Dewey? Isn't it amazing that his last name was Decimal? It's true though, right? It's like these kind of breakthroughs are going to be everyday kind of thing. It'll be an everyday kind of thing because the people who actually use the products and are in life designing with will be impacting everything. I mean, there's no difference now between supply chain management and government, right? So as I'm working, you know, I'm like, what was I thinking about? That's what happens, right? Like I'll be depressed, but like my mind's still going. So it is true. You get a lot of thinking done. Okay, so what was I thinking about? I was like, okay, I'm at the supermarket, right? Oh, that's what it is. Right. So, and none of this stuff it's not rocket science. It's totally like we can do this now. So I've gone to Oprah.com and, you know, I've said, okay, I filled out her questionnaires about my best life and all this stuff, and I've come up with a plan, okay? Well, that can be passed to my ID now, our Belief DNA ID. And I'm going to go to the supermarket and, sorry, this is weed, but, you know, the products that are consistent with my beliefs, depending on my preferences. So if I set my preferences to, I want to push myself in general. I just want to push myself, right? I cycle that up, And different products are going to react to me differently when I walk through a supermarket aisle. But if I'm really not that committed, so I've done like the da-da-da-da work and whatever, and I remember Oprah talking about there's a phase prior to actually committing to action that is also an identifiable phase, and I was impacted by that show. And I was thinking about that this morning. I was just like, well, then I would be like, yeah, but I really want the chocolate chip cookies. So what's going to happen is my idea is either going to say, well, how do you want me to react? What do you need right now? Right now, because this is a preset thing before I walk into the supermarket or before I visit volatile family members at a wedding or some uncomfortable situation, some area where I know I'm walking into an area of shadow or weakness. The bar, how many drinks, right? Any of that stuff. I can, when I'm of clear mind and sound, clear mind, sound body, is that what it is? Ba, 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 ba. I'm going to be a better person, ba, 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 ba. But do you really want to be a better person? And that's okay, right? You can start to interact then and say, okay, well, here are the actual choices that I'm making. And I can start to have a relationship then with the products that are on the shelf. So it's imperative that there is this high trust thing, because this stuff that I'm talking about is already happening. It's not like it's fantasy. Like, this stuff is getting pushed on us. And I know because I was a pusher. I was a marketer. I know what we do. It's called positioning, which sometimes means lying. It definitely means shining a particular light on something for the purpose of driving understanding. Whether or not the lights we shine on something tell the whole story. So I always had this sort of love-hate relationship, and I was always consulting, and I was always really finicky about the clients that I worked for, and kind of got this reputation for being difficult. And now it's just like, yeah, now I know I have this really profound sense after having had my sort of death of the soul, Black Night of the Soul experience. But what I'm rejoicing over, and just like really pleased that, you know, the shit works, the whole practice stuff that I was mentioning. I know I've been babbling and tweeting, and I don't know. So that's why what's helpful is if people can actually see this now. Like, I thought that every time I was talking like this, I've been talking like this for 5 years. And so I just don't know who was able to hear me. Anyway, time to switch. What do we do? Yeah, I'm at a very dosage right now for most people. So for most people, what is this like? Having 2 hash brownies and a whole bunch of smoke. So whatever it is just good for my brain.